Might have to see it in person. How much that thing weigh?
Um, Couple pounds.
It's my pleasure, man. This will be fun. I'm happy to talk to you guys. Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to be on the show. Be a fan of Moneyball now, forever.
Awesome.
Love
Awesome.
it.
Ladies and gents, this is D Money and this is Moneyball. Today we have Super Bowl champion Stephen Means with us. Real excited about this. What's up, my man?
What's going on, Moneyball? How you doing, man?
Thank you much for spending a few minutes with us here and telling us your story and getting to know you a little bit. Really appreciate it, man.
No doubt, man. I appreciate it.
As I was doing the research, which that's a lie. The whole point of this show is authentic, right? So we don't do a lot. Like, I knew who you were, obviously, and you know, you're an NFL player. So, but turned out when I was doing all this digging up, I didn't know exactly what years you played, you know, at UB. And a real good friend of mine is Marcus Rivers, and he's basically family. He's family, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw him a couple days ago. He just stopped in. You know, now he's a Lackawanna cop doing his thing, and we had him and Naaman. We had him and Naaman on the show about a month ago.
I saw that one.
You did. All right, cool. You know, and then Damone Harris and a couple other guys that were a little bit later than you, I think, right?
Yeah, Damone. Yep, I know Damone a little bit.
Yeah, and Jamarcus and a few other guys, but regardless, man, I really do appreciate you taking the time, and I love to hear these stories, and I like to kind of get some stuff maybe about Stephen Means that nobody else knows or that nobody else has really asked about, right? You know, Everybody's asking the same questions about stats and this and that. Listen, man, I know you're 6'3", 6'4". I know you can probably squat 500 pounds, right? But let's hear about the man. Tell me a little bit about your story, man. Where are you from and what's going on?
Born and raised right there in the city of Buffalo.
Okay.
Right in the inner city on the east side. I grew up probably about 3 minutes driving from the old Bill Stadium over there on Best.
Okay. War Memorial.
I'm a Buffalo native through and through. Went to public schools all the way through. Went to UB, so I was in Buffalo my whole life. God-fearing man, married now, 2 boys.
Awesome.
3 and 1.
Man, so you say 3 and 1?
Yeah.
Wow, as if he's a family man.
Bruh, loving it too.
Right?
The infant phase, that's not really, that'll make you like rewire everything. But the toddler phase, man, I'm loving it, man.
You know what? You're so spot on. I have 3 boys. I got a 10-year-old, I got a 7-year-old, and I got a 3-year-old.
Right.
And, anybody who watches the show knows that because I talk about them all the time. It's one of the reasons I do the show. But that 6 months to a year, man, like your little guy, what are their names?
Trey and True.
Trey and True. Those are cool names.
Yeah.
I like both of those, man. Those are really dope names. I say the first 6 months, year, it's like, you don't want to, you're changing poop and basically not sleeping.
No sleep.
But then they start getting cool, right?
Right.
They start being like little drunk humans, right? Stumbling around, right? It's like they all had a little too much to drink. They're partying.
Right.
And they start saying weird things like a drunk guy would say, right?
Yeah. My aunt always say that. She said, she tell my youngest, she'd be like, the next time I come over here, I want you walking like a soldier, not like a drunk man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
and it's funny. It's, to see the development. Like, when's the 3-year-old going to be 4?
In February on the 2nd. He was born on Super Bowl Sunday.
That's cool. Mine is January, oh my gosh. 20-something. 20-something. I got 3 of them, man. I told you. But it's January 20-something. So they're about the same age. And the difference is I've already gone through it, right? Because my 10-year-old now, man, he's got the swag. He's playing the sports. He's got girlfriends. Like, dad, back off my space, right? But you're living it right now. And to watch that transformation of these little guys, which you're soon to start see them become young men, and then you're in charge of that. However they act the rest of their life, man, that's on you. No pressure.
Right. For real. I literally got lives in my hands.
So born and raised in Buffalo. What part? East side over there, Montana, or where are you at?
No, right off Best, like right over there on Dodge, in between Dodge and Cold Spring. Right off Northampton. Grew up.
Yeah.
I've been living at the same house my whole life. So
Okay.
literally right in this inner city of Buffalo my whole life.
Yeah. Well, you obviously, came through and did all right with that. And
Yeah.
people sometimes don't really understand Buffalo. They think like we're in Canada and
Right.
They're like Canada, like Buffalo. There's no crime. Buffalo is ruthless at times, man. And you know that, and you had to overcome a lot of things in your life. There's no question. Was football always your first love? Were there other sports?
So it was weird because I started playing. My dad used to coach when I was young. Like he coached before I was born.
Okay.
But he actually played in college at Ball State. And he had a tryout with the Bills, but he turned him down because he found out my mom was pregnant with me.
Wow.
Right. So he just went into coaching. He was coaching Little League. And I used to go to practice with him when I was like 4.
Okay.
And he said that I always would get like jealous when the kids would be running around and I couldn't run with them.
Okay.
So I told him I wanted to play. And he kind of let me play. I was like too young to play, but nobody check birth certificates for kids that's too young. Like,
yeah.
So I was like 4.5. My birthday a little later, before the season started. So I was like 4.5 when I started playing. He told me I didn't really know nothing. They didn't really let me play my first year. I got in on kickoff and I ran and like tackled somebody who was trying to block me. It was like bad. But I remember being 6 watching him watch football on TV in the living room, and he was just always watching it. I'm looking at the TV, then look at him, look at the TV, and look at him, and I was like, "Dad, I'm gonna be on TV one day. I'm gonna be on football. I'm gonna be playing football on TV." I didn't know what that meant at the time.
Yeah.
He always talked about it, so that kind of helped me remember it. But he remembered it more vivid than me. But he said that's what happened, and ever since then, that been my passion. He pushed me towards it. He gave me all the tools I needed, and kind of like got everything out of me that I could give to the game.
Yeah.
Was right there with me every step of the way, and my mom made sure if I ain't had a grades, I was not playing. She didn't care.
There you go.
If it was a championship game or nothing. So that it was my definitely my love. I play other sports, but just to stay in shape, football, like basketball, track, swim. I swam 1 year.
Yeah.
That was it. I couldn't do it. Yeah.
You swam in high school?
Yeah.
You don't hear that too many times from NFL stars, man.
Yeah, I probably won't ever say it again either.
Right. Somebody now I got some. It's like having dirt on you or something. Do your buddies know that? Because I'm going to bring that up.
No, nobody else knows that, bro.
Oh man. Well, it sounds like your dad is an amazing human being, and what's nice about that is you had that glue keeping you together. You probably looked around at a lot of your friends' families who didn't have that. Single mothers, single fathers, whatever the situation, and you're very, very blessed to have had that glue.
For sure.
What's up, Moneyball family? I'm here to tell you about Smash Burgers from Buffalo Bros Burgers. Going to be opening a storefront in the village of Hamburg, and in the meantime, you can find them on the website wherever they're going to be in town. You're going to want to turn up and show out because they have some delicious burgers. Smash Burger is a couple of burgers smashed on a bun with some cheese dripping down. You hungry yet? Check out the Smash Burger from Buffalo Bros Burgers, man. It's good stuff.
Impulse is revolutionizing the physical therapy experience for active individuals in Western New York. From marathon runners to warriors of the weight room, we've got you covered. Our cutting-edge technology takes sports-specific testing to the next level. Our patient-centered approach lets you drive your own recovery. You can expect individualized one-on-one sessions every time you're here. And the game changer? Impulse is home to Western New York's only public board-certified sports PT. If you're ready to get back in the game, call Impulse today and mention Moneyball for $100 off your first visit.
I know that's a big factor just in everyday life, right? Sometimes I'll just get in like a little tussle with my wife or something. You think about it right away, like if the kids are on this and that, and it's just so important,
Yeah, I always thank them for that because growing up, I can't even think of nobody else, friends or family, that had both parents in the household.
That's what I mean.
And they sacrificed a lot for us. They sacrificed their own happiness. Like they wind up divorcing once we got old enough to understand they really wasn't together. But they wanted to maintain that same household for us, so we can grow up seeing that
See
because
that?
they, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, that's amazing. It's amazing.
yeah,
You don't want to see them unhappy, but at the same time, like I think if I had that choice, I'd probably do that too.
right,
You know what I
right,
mean? But that'll translate to you as far as you being
right.
a dad. It really will. And
Sure.
you want that same kind of foundation and having that family. There's nothing better, right? You have what do you have? A couple brothers?
Right. I got 2 younger brothers. Yeah.
2 younger brothers. Okay. How old are they and what's up with them? Did they play ball?
I got a 32-year-old right behind me.
Okay.
He played football, little league, all the way to high school. He fell in love with it. He started loving it a little bit later in life, but he was more basketball. Like he could shoot the lights out with the basketball.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
my youngest brother, he played basketball. That's it. He's at basketball, soccer, baseball. I think that's pretty much it though. But he didn't really take the football like that, but he definitely was into the basketball heavy. Still nice with it.
Did you always have the size?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Everybody always said I still don't feel big for real, but everybody always
Well,
said
you're big. You're big.
I was one of the everybody said I was one of the biggest always. I heard that my whole life for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're a pretty big dude, man. I had Nate Bernard is a buddy now. I had him on the show. I don't know if you know who that is. He's doing that slap league now.
What?
Yeah, that UFC that slap each
I
other.
gotta go back and watch that one. What?
You got to check that. So Nate's got a great story. His dad worked for the Bills for a long, long time. Nate played football and had a few injuries. And he's still doing security with the Bills and stuff like that. But him and his dad were sitting there watching TV one day. They were watching that slap thing, and he looked at him. He said, "Nate, you should do that." And Nate's like, "No, man." Yeah, and he said, "Okay." So he started training for this, and his first match was out in Vegas. They slap each other in the face, man, and he knocked the guy right out. So
first slap, or did he get slapped?
I think it was his first slap. I think it was his first slap ever. If I'll double check, but I think it was his first slap ever. And Nate's a likable guy, and he's a big, big dude, right? And he's just he commands attention when he walks in a room. And kind of like you, man, you're a big dude, and you guys just you might not know it or feel it, but you do. You just you demand respect without even maybe knowing it. And sometimes you guys get the wrong impression. Like, oh,
right.
This guy's
right.
Like
sure.
This guy's this kind of way or whatever. And Nate's he's a nice grounded dude. Not everybody who's big like that. They're not all these ruthless thugs, dude. They're just you're big and you took what you have and you went and played sports with it.
Sure. For sure.
Yeah. So he has another match coming up this month, November, and it's for the title. And he met Dana White, and now they're kind of making him the face of the league. Good looking cat. Whatever. Yeah, things are looking up for him. So, man, shout out to Nate Bernard, man.
Nate Bernard, I'm gonna have to check him out. Yeah,
he's a real cool dude too. He is. We went out. I took him out to Elmo's, and one of these days I'm going to get everybody together. Elmo's is one of the sponsors of the show. Everybody was on a show, and we're all going to do wings out there, man. But I took him and Steve.
How do you train for something like that with your face? Like, how do you what?
So he said he really never took. How do you train for that, right? So he went to his boys. And he said, "Listen, I need you guys to just slap me in the face as hard as you can," right? And they were laughing at him, and they're like, "No, we're not doing that." And he's like, "No, listen, this is, there's money to be made here,
Right.
And so he said he just put his hands behind his back, and I asked him that, man. I said, "Well, they were obviously going to take a little bit off," and he's like,
"Right."
He said the couple of them hit me, and it wasn't hard enough, and I told them like, stop or I'm really going to fight you, right? Like he was mad at him. Yeah, he really wanted to get hit because just like anything, you got to train for it.
Got to.
And some people kind of laugh at like, oh, that slap thing's so stupid. Listen, I think an athlete's an athlete. And, if there's money in it and you can train for it and you need to
do it.
Right.
Right.
So tell me, let's go into your career a little bit. I have a tendency to kind of get off the beaten path a little bit. So
you good.
I want to get me back on course, bro. So drafted How was draft day? Tell me a little bit about how that felt, and was like dream come true kind of thing. I mean, you got a good story?
Oh my God. All
Here
right.
we go.
I got a couple of them.
All right.
So the first night, my agent, Justin Hunt, he did amazing. He gave me some great advice. He said, "Don't watch it." He said, "You're not going first round. It's the first night. Don't watch it." Everybody who watches, even if you know you're not getting drafted the first night, you got that anxiety building up, and then it's like a bummer.
Okay.
So I literally didn't watch it, but my mom, my dad, my brothers were downstairs. They watched it. I just played the game upstairs. Second night, I went to Dave and Buster's.
Okay.
Right. So I'm at Dave and Buster's. We still in Buffalo. And I'm playing the basketball game. Now I'm a little embarrassed. It was the little one, not the big one. It was the little one.
Okay. You didn't have to say it, but I respect it.
Right. So I'm like, yo, I think I can beat this record. So I go again and I'm shooting. And it got like a couple shots before the record, and I'm like, yo, I'm about to win it. So hit the record, and I'm like, yeah. So then
You're feeling yourself on that kids level.
Yeah, on the kids when I'm just and so I like go to check my phone, and I got 2 missed calls from out of town numbers. Now it dawned on me right away, because during the draft process, you get phone calls, you feel calls from our teams. They just call you, want to see how you sound on the phone, they want to let you know interest. So immediately I'm like panicked. So I ran outside, and it wound up being the Bears.
Okay.
And they had a pick.
Now what happens? You see that missed number, right? Now, just like any missed call, you call it back. Who answers the phone?
Call it right back. I don't remember his name. It was a coach.
Okay.
Or it was a coach from the Bears.
That's wild, isn't it?
Yes. And it was the 3rd round. And he said, "Hey man, just keep your phone with you. Just make sure you got your phone with you and answer the phone around this time."
Yeah.
And they wind up taking a DN that round.
Okay.
So I don't know if I missed the call to get drafted, or I don't know, but
yeah, you can't live with regret though.
Yeah,
you can't live with regret, man. We all manifest something, right?
Yeah.
But you never know. They're like, yo, this cat didn't answer his phone. We don't want him.
Right, yeah, true. And so I kind of brushed it off. I brushed it off. I really wasn't too down about it. Went home, the next day started, and I'm sitting there now. I'm watching it, actively watching it. 4th round is going, and just like my agent say, every pick, the anxiety build, and then it's like,
yeah.
I'm like, man, I just got outside. I'm leaving. So I walked out the house. I'm playing catch with my little brother outside, and my dad is sitting there. I put my phone next to my dad on his truck, and I'm just like, we playing catch. I'm just trying to get my mind off of stuff.
Right.
And I had been getting text messages that whole day pretty much, and but my phone started ringing, and like I was just getting ready to throw the ball, and the phone started ringing. And we all looked at each other and froze. And then my dad was like, answer it. So then I heard it.
Yep.
I answered it. It was Tampa. They said, do you want to be a Buccaneer? This is exactly how you see it on TV.
Yep.
So I started talking to the coaches. My name came across the TV, and everybody in the house started going crazy. And I couldn't really hear what the people on the phone was saying. But
yep. When
I tell you, I was stuck. I was froze. That was the craziest moment of my life up until that point. And my phone didn't stop ringing for the rest of the day. I couldn't hear people on the phone because it kept just beeping in my ear.
Yeah.
It just crazy for the rest of that day. I had to.
Oh, sure, man. Right. You got your cousin you haven't talked to in 12 years now. He wants to know what's up now, right? You know how that goes.
It's crazy because I don't know. I've heard too many stories about it. Yeah. My family not really like that.
Good.
It's crazy. But people who I haven't heard from in a while call just to congratulate. But yeah, so you get
a sincere congratulations.
Sincere congratulations, and that's it. But yeah, man, I was just thankful. I was just pray to God immediately. I had to leave the house and just go pray, man, just thank you. And then, everything I was just cloud9 from there.
It's powerful, man. It's, my favorite thing to ask people is that question. And every time I ask any baller, hey, tell me about draft day, it's everybody can recount it just like you did,
Yeah.
write down, like, I love that you're saying I was just about to throw the ball again,
Right.
It's like, it's that detailed. And there's very few moments in your life that you can remember like that. I mean, everybody kind of knows they were when 9/11 happened, right?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
I mean,
Sure.
obviously, and,
Sure.
and not to make the tragedy, a comparison, but at the same time, it's so cool just to that you have that exact memory, and everyone, no matter who it is that you're talking to, it's always, the phone rings, right? And you're just so nervous, and you already had probably planned what you were going to say, but that don't come out right.
Right.
Now,
No.
did you get calls ahead of the draft, though, of teams that said
Yes.
they were going to, who was kind of reaching out, or who were you expecting? Was Chicago one of those?
No. So it was crazy because I had in my room, I had the whole wall was bare, and I had little sticky notes. So anytime a team would call me, I would write down the team name,
Okay.
the scout name or the coach name who called me, the time that they called me, and how long the phone call was. So it was like, I think 22 of the 32 teams had called me. Like, that was like tags where I had, and like some teams had more sticky notes because they called me more than other teams.
Yep.
So I might have got one call from one team, but then I might have got 5 calls from another team.
Who did you think you were going to, like, in your heart?
The Ravens.
The Ravens?
I went there for a visit. I went to Baltimore for the visit. They said that they had me as high as 4th round, and they on the draft board, and that was the highest I heard. I had other teams like the Eagles. They came out and they said that they worked me out. Said that Rick Mentor, he was the linebacker coach at the time. He said he really, and they would probably pick me up.
Now, did he like you as linebacker or as line?
Yeah, they wanted me as a stand-up linebacker, the 3-4.
Really?
They 3-4 at that time.
Oh, okay.
So when he came and worked me out, he worked me out with John Offer. I don't know if you know John Offer, but he the one who kind of worked out all the UB guys right before the draft.
Okay.
So yeah, he worked me out there, and boy, he wore me out at that workout.
Yeah.
But Tim came and they worked me out at the UB stadium. They worked me out right at the stadium. The Bills, I went and worked out at the Bills stadium. Trying to think. That was the only workouts I had. Kansas City, I went to go visit.
Now, are those workouts always something that, at the end of them, do you kind of say to yourself, damn, I wish I could have done this different, or I could have done this a little better? Or did you end up feeling like you left the cleats out on the field?
I'm trying to think. I don't think I got one. Even like after you already in the league and you got to go to teams to work out, I don't think I have one workout where I feel like I wish I would have. Like when I go out there, it was ball. Yeah. And I mean, like, it was even times where you would get those coaches that was trying to like see what you got.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to get
break
it out
you down a little bit.
Yeah. And so like sometimes like I was in Tennessee, and they had a coach who was like, he was like dropping back and he was like drilling the ball at us. And I'm like, he just what he was trying to see is how hard we gonna go for the ball.
Okay.
And so I was literally like diving, like full length diving, and like the ball would like hit my hand and bounce off. A lot of them I caught, but like the ones that he was impressed with was the ones where I was like leaving the ground to go try to get it.
Yeah.
And so like they brought up even my pro.
And I think you kind of see the difference there of the guys who do, give it 100 or 150%, right?
Sure.
And they're weaning out the guys who aren't going full throttle, man. I listen, I watched you play ball, and I can say, there's no time where where at least from the plays I've seen, and to be honest with you, most of them are highlight real plays, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't see all your negative plays.
Right.
But at the same time, man, that motor was revving, right? I mean, that car was ready to go, and you were always, it looked like you almost looked mad always out there, man. And I see a lot of pictures of you, like, say you go and you Google the name or whatever, they always got you looking like Busta Rhymes, man. They always got like this, you got this mad face on you, man. Like, is it and you don't seem like that mad of a dude. So is that just coincidence or what?
I have no idea. That's funny though, because I know the pictures you're talking about.
Right?
That it is more gritty pictures out there than not. So yeah, I know it. I know it too.
Oh man, so
I love those ones though. By the way, I love those pictures too, for sure.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. So you go to Tampa. You play there. I guess, and not to drag out, the whole thing. We'll do, we're good. But you go and injuries being such a big part of this game, right?
Right.
So unavoidable, and just it always bothers me when I see and you look at careers and you look at injuries and as an athlete, you want to be out there. You want to be out there making plays, and it's got to be so troubling and just so disconcerting when that even if you have something, even when you feel like you can go and play,
right,
they're going to hold you back, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you say, man, this is going on or whatever, right? Like it's one of those scenarios, I guess, like these guys will play, and if they don't go to the X-ray room, they might be able to play the whole season.
Yeah,
but sure. If they do, and they see there's something there, then they're out. And I think a lot of guys I've talked to, they've said that, and they said, like, we wouldn't even want to go. Like, it doesn't matter what hurt. We would just tell them we're fine, because injuries are so debilitating, and the NFL is a what have you done for me lately league, right?
Exactly. And I mean, even in Tampa, it was times where I was hurt. I knew like my shoulder slipped out of place at practice, one of the games, but I had just had a good game against the Cardinals before.
Okay.
But like that week before the week that was coming up, and the coaches was like, okay, we about to give him a real shot.
Okay.
And so the training staff saw me hurting and like grimacing, grabbing my shoulder. And so they like pulled me in to like get me checked out.
Yep.
I kept saying, no, I'm good. Like, what?
Yep. This is what I'm saying.
Because I'm like, this is my shot. My shot is coming.
Yep.
And a lot of the older guys will tell you, and even I'll say it today, like they'll tell you, like, man, if you hurt, don't go out there and play.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I was young. This is my rookie year. I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear none of that. I ain't got my shot for real. This is my first time getting my shot. I'm playing.
Yep.
And what in essence, what they mean is, though, like, say you might be 75, 80%.
Yep.
You might feel like I can play through it. You're not going to be better than the other man at 100, his 100%. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are at the elite of the elite level. And so
exactly. And that's a great,
you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to go out there and be your best. And when they watching the tape, they're not judging you on, oh, we know his shoulder messed up, or we know his this or that messed up.
No, they're judging you on your play.
Exactly. And it's like, why you didn't do this? Why you didn't? And it's, this wrong with me. And it's like, no, they don't hear it. So the older guys will tell you, don't practice, don't go on the field until you 100%.
Yeah.
And me being the young cat, I'm like, nah, I'm going. And even like when the doctor came, he moved my shoulder and it slipped out again.
Okay.
And when he looked at me, I knew it was over. And I just was like, my other shoulder do that too. And he went over there, and I'm a little bit flexible. So when he moved it, I try to pull it down, and it popped like just a little sound.
Yeah.
He went, oh, okay. And I shouldn't have played, bro. I shouldn't have played it.
But it worked. It worked though.
They worked to get me clear, but I wasn't even like sustain a block that game.
Right.
So,
yeah. And then you're putting yourself more susceptible to anything,
Yep.
Now tell me a little bit about Super Bowl year.
Oh, that was a crazy year.
I mean, let's talk about one, right? Like, and not to go into detail, but I'm just going to kind of synopsis right down the road from growing up in the streets of Buffalo, right? Fulfilling that dream, man, and Super Bowl year. Let's talk about that. I mean, my bet is that it's going to be another one of those moments and things that you can describe exactly everything, right? Like we had talked about with draft day.
You literally remember everything, bro.
Yeah.
Like when I say like we knew we was gonna win the Super Bowl. Week 2, we lost to the Chiefs. We knew we was gonna win the Super Bowl. We played week 1, we won. And I remember LeGarrette Blount, he was in the locker room and he was like, "Hey, Means, we just need one more." And I'm looking at him like, what? But he just came from Tom Brady over there in New England.
Yeah. Yep.
So he got, I think, 3 rings at the time, maybe even. And he like, "We just need one more, Means, one more." I'm like, what? And he's like, "Then one more again." And I'm like, oh. And it's always the same mentality people talk about, one at a time. Just take it one at a time.
Right.
But I think the difference was, and I've never been in New England, but that's where I'm thinking he getting the concept from.
Yeah.
Go all into that one.
Yep.
And then the next, do it again next time. But when I say like every game was like, and it was crazy because we had important guys going down back to back to back to back. We played in some big games. Carson Wentz tore his ACL.
Yep.
Jason Peters tore his ACL.
Dude, that was a crazy year. You're right. That was a crazy year.
Yeah. Starting middle linebacker Jordan Hicks tore his Achilles that year. We had some wide receivers go down. Darren Sproles tore his ACL that year.
Yeah,
it was crazy, but we kept winning. And every day, Doug Peterson would come in the meeting room and be like, "All right, well, you know what it is. This is where we at. Blah, blah, blah. Keep going. Let's keep going." And when we lost Carson Wentz, like you could tell everybody was like, whoa. Like he was runner up for he was like in the talks for MVP that year.
I mean, he was lights out that year, man. I think he blacked out. I don't even think he knew what he was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
It was crazy. He's in Bible study and he just was like we talking and he just like, "Man, it's crazy." It was the week before, it was the week of the LA game. We in LA and we in doing Bible study. He's like, "Man, I never would have imagined like this type of year. It's crazy the amount of stuff that just." And then he went out and tore his ACL, and we like you could feel it all over. Like everybody was like, "Oh, Philly done. It's over."
Oh yeah, every critic, every analyst and critic wrote you guys off. That was it. You guys were
And then Doug Peterson stood in front of the meeting room again. He was like, "We still got the same goal."
Yeah.
And Jim Schwartz still put the same, like every single day, he put when he had a projector screen up, getting ready to show film, it was a Super Bowl trophy.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Every single day, over and over and over again, better than our mind.
And that started at week 1?
OTAs.
Okay.
Before we even knew what the team was going to be, he was showing us the trophy.
See, the good ones, man, I feel like the good coaches always have something memorable. You know what I mean? The ones that you remember forever and that are still talked about and highly touted as the best coaches ever, they always have something memorable. And for that was Schwartz that did that or Peterson?
Schwartz.
Yeah, and that's another thing, you're always going to always remember. And the unity, right? Like, did you feel different on that team as far as like a brethren, from that perspective?
Man, it was up until that point. It was the longest team. It was the team I had been on the longest. So we was locked in.
Yeah.
Even at practice, like that was probably the team with the fewest amount of fights I've been a part of. Like we got after it and we got active, and people did not like me on the field. But like Lane Johnson, me and Lane went at it.
Yeah.
But Lane talked to the media about what I did for him or how hard practice was and it made the game easier. But, that was just the beauty of it.
I think, you say that they didn't like me. I think, you got that junkyard dog mentality. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to come and let somebody take your bone. So, I think when you say he didn't like you, I bet he respects the hell out of you.
Yeah, he loved me. Like we played each other after that. And like it's really weird because when I don't know you, we looking at each other and we got that I'm trying to kill you mentality.
Yeah.
And when me and Lane seen each other, I try to keep the same mindset. And we looked at each other and we just smiled. Like,
because it's hard, man, you know?
yeah, it's like, damn, this is my guy here for real. But yeah, we had some real battles. We had some good moments. We had times where he was like, me, go to the other side today. Like, don't come over here. Go over there. Then he had some days where he was like, come on over here. Means I need it this week. We got Von Miller. We got Khalil Mack. Come on over here. So yeah.
Yeah, man. You guys were in the trenches with some of the best too. Now
Sure.
that Super Bowl, you know, that was New England, right? That was what that ended up being about a 2-point game. That was an amazing Super Bowl. Wasn't it like 40? It was a high scoring, fun Super Bowl, I remember, right?
41-33.
Okay. All right. So it got away.
That one came to the wire because they was only down 8 and Tom Brady, can you hear me still?
I can hear you still, but I got here you come. Now you're back.
Yeah, let me.
It just came off for a minute. It's got your initials and then it popped. Now you're back on yet.
Yeah. Tom Brady, they threw the game winning pass in the air. And I think Gronk went back to try to catch it and he like caught it, but he just dropped it in. Like I think Julian Edelman was right under it, but just missed it.
Yep.
Like last play of the game.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that Super Bowl, man, and like I said, it was one of my favorites. You know, and now, you know, being how old are you? 33?
33.
33. So what do you do with yourself now? Are you coaching? Are you still in, would you say, playing shape? If quote, look at the finger quotes here, my man. Look, playing shape, right? Like, like if someone were to call you, or is it? I mean, you done, or what? Like, what's going on?
So man, I'm at the point where I'm still in playing shape. I can't stop training for it yet. I'm not at that point where I can stop training yet.
You're not ready mentally.
But I'm at the point where like this last season, the one when I was playing with Baltimore, I went into that season and I even told my dad, you know, he the first person that introduced me to the game.
Yeah.
We sat out and talked, and he was just like, you know, I was telling him I probably got 3 more years if I wanted to go.
Okay.
But I feel like I owe the game to give it every last drop of what I got at least one more time.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm going to take all of them years I could possibly go and I'm going to pour it all into this one. And every single day, no matter what I'm feeling like, I'm just going to pour everything I got into it. And I want to leave this game with nothing left in the tank. Yeah. And I just want to honor it that way one time.
Yeah.
And we sat there and we cried about it. And I literally cried almost every day going into work because I knew this was my last time. So preseason games, I'm like, dang, this is my last preseason. This is my last first preseason game. Like this is my last first training camp.
Yeah.
This is my last first day of pads when the pads come on. Like, damn, this is my last first regular season game. Like it just kept. And, you know, those emotions and them tears are just pouring in. So I already was in the process of saying goodbye to the game.
Okay.
When I got hurt, I had to shift my mind to I got to get back in playing shape just because I want to live my life 100% healthy.
Right.
Instead of, you know what I mean? I didn't want to like, oh, yeah, I'm not playing no more, so I don't got to go as hard trying to get back. But I'm actively watching every last play that I ever played in the NFL. Okay. Just kind of like going back to my rookie year, second year, looking at all the preseason games, the regular season games, watching special teams, defense, and just kind of like saying goodbye to it in my own way and kind of.
That's cool though, man. It's kind of spiritual, you know?
Yeah, because the game gave a lot to me. So
yeah,
it's going to be a process for me. But
I think it is. I can hear it in your voice and I can see it in your face. And, you know, if I could, I'm a 45-year-old old man now. Right. So, if I could give you any advice at all, man, I would say be hella proud, you know, for everything that you have accomplished. And, listen, man, any day of the week, I'd put you in my corner. Just even hearing what you're saying, like you don't do, there's no half stepping with you, man. Like, everything you do it right. Now, generally speaking, at least the people I know in my experience and the way I try to live my life, or the code, right, is that everything you do in life then becomes that, right? So it's not just the game of football, it's parenting,
Exactly.
that new phase of your life, which is new to you, but you want to make sure you're doing that the right way and right, and giving it everything you got.
Yep. Parenting is it's a little weird to people when they hear this, but me and the wife, like, we literally split the day.
Yeah.
Like, in the morning, she like to sleep in. I'm already used to getting up and stuff, so I get up, go work out, and then I come back before 8 o'clock. And I got the boy 8 o'clock all the way to 4.
Yep.
And once 4 hits, she got him from 4 all the way to his bedtime.
I like that. To me, it's whatever works.
Right.
So, I mean, people might be like, "Oh, that's weird." Whatever. Listen, it works for you, then that's cool.
Yeah, it just what work right now, because we done changed a couple times.
It might change. It might change a couple times.
It's probably gonna change some more, but yeah, right now that's the routine. But when I got them, man, I'm taking them to the fields, letting them run. We going outside. We at the park, trampoline, whatever we can do. Just spending time watching them, man. It's dope right now. I'm seeing them grow up and being able to be in a position where I can just watch them grow up.
Yeah. Now, where are you living now?
I stayed in Tampa that whole time.
Okay. So the whole time, really? Yeah. All right.
Wasted so much money renting a house.
Whereabouts are you, man? Well, I don't need to know address or anything, but I'll email you after this. I'm going tomorrow. I'll be in Tampa.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, my family lives down in Wesley Chapel.
Never. That's where I live. I live in Wesley Chapel.
Get out of town, really?
You gotta hit me up, bro. You gotta hit me up.
I will, man. I'll be there tomorrow, man. You meet my boys, but I'll be down there tomorrow. I think we're flying into Orlando or whatever, but I'll email you after this and we'll talk a bit more. But is your 3-year-old up yet, or is he sleeping?
Huh?
Is your 3-year-old up, or is he sleeping?
He with his mom right now. It's past 4 o'clock, so I'm like this.
All right. Well, I got my man Jackson over here, my 7-year-old. Come on over. Don't knock those cords over. I like to integrate him a little bit into the last part here.
Jack?
Hi. What do you
What's
think?
going on?
This guy right here played in an NFL Super Bowl.
And I play flag football.
Yes, he does play flag football. Yeah, he had a killer year this year, man. So I like to bring Jackson in, man, for the end of this. It's rapid fire. We just spit some questions at you. No pre-planning or anything, and just give us what you got. So Jack, I'll let you start out. What do you got for this man?
What we got?
What was your favorite NFL season?
Oh, favorite NFL. It would
you gotta think now, because he doesn't want to say the wrong thing and make all his teammates mad.
COVID year.
Really? That was your favorite?
COVID year was my favorite. It was a time where everything was against us. Like, we didn't know if we would have a year. We didn't know if we had so many protocols. It was so much distraction, and it was all about who gonna focus and dial in. Like, we didn't have days that year. It was just camp. And it kind of brought us together in a different way.
Yep.
And it made us bond, and we was literally in the stadium, nobody else there, no fans, no nothing.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
It was super weird. It felt like practice most of the time, but that was just my best year. So I'm gonna say it's my favorite year because it was
little biased though, right?
Yeah,
but, and remember when when COVID first came around and people were so uncertain too, right? And I truly think, like, people were more kind to each other, dude.
Yeah.
When it first came around, it's like, man, what is this craziness? Like, our world could end or whatever. And people just started being nicer to each other. And people that never went to church before started going to church, and it was like, it was wild. It was wild.
You're going on walks and everybody looking at each other like across the street, but you're still like, hey,
yeah. And now it's back to reality, and they're like, man, look down, no eye contact. Go ahead, Jack. You got another question for him? Uh-oh, he's stumped. I'll go wings or drums, man. You're a Buffalo guy. This is every single person I asked. Like,
I saw this on the last.
Yeah, you're getting it too.
I I've recently transitioned to the wings, bro. I used to be drums. Drums got, bro. I recently transitioned, bro. I don't know what it is. I didn't even pay attention to it. I was just like, give me the chicken. I don't care if it's wings or drums.
Yeah.
But
this is the first transition I've ever experienced.
yeah, the wife, man, she was just like, she kept asking for all flats. And I'm like, why do you want all flats? And she said, just try it. Just eat one of the drumsticks and then eat one of the wings. And I was just like, all right. So I ate the drumstick. I'm like, yeah, that's the same way. I ate the wing and I was like, it's a little bit more work, but it's a little bit more satisfying after all.
I think you just missed those buffalo. You need some of those buffalo wings, man. What,
oh my God.
You got a spot in Tampa?
No, there's no other spot but Buffalo.
I know.
I've been to where I've been to. I've been to Tampa, Atlanta, Philly, Baltimore, Houston, back to Baltimore, everywhere, bro. There's no wings like the town. There's no wings like Buffalo.
There's not at all. And Lenovo ships them.
Yeah, I
actually Duff ships them now too.
No, they don't. Don't tell me that.
I think they do. I'm pretty sure, man.
Really? That's my spot in Buffalo is to go to Duff's.
See, Duff's was my number one. Well, Elmo's now. Hey, Elmo's is paying my bills, right? So, but y'all made Elmo's really what it was. Like Khalil Mack came out and started talking about it, and their Cajun double dipped are man, they're lights out. But Duff's is still great.
Yeah.
Maybe I should bring you some wings, man. I mean, we might see this dude real soon. He right where Grandma lives. He'll be right down there.
Well.
Yeah.
Like roads away.
Like maybe 2 roads away. I don't know. We'll figure that out. He's got you. He's got you shook a little bit. Jackson usually comes out here guns a-blazing with confidence. You got him shook a little bit, man. What's going on?
Yeah.
A little intimidated because he's bigger. He don't think he's a big guy. He said he don't think he's a big guy. He'd squash you, wouldn't he?
I'm a little guy.
A couple more. Who's your favorite son? No, I'm just kidding.
He only has one.
No, he's got 2.
Oh.
I'm kind of getting away with that right now. I'm done. I'm done though. By the way, I'm done.
Yeah.
I gotta keep putting that in the atmosphere. I'm done.
Okay, yeah, that's
so
what
I
you
always
say.
call the oldest. I'm like, you my favorite big boy.
Yeah, well,
you my favorite baby boy.
God tells you when you're done, man.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. God told me. He said, yeah, it's over.
Yeah, he touched you on the shoulder. He's like, that's it.
So,
who was your favorite teammate at UB, or who were you closest with at UB? Real quick, like who were a couple of the guys that you were real close with?
So Mac and Willie. We was the closest. Jaleel, Terry Peaton. Jaleel, Willie, and Terry came in together and we bond instantly.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of guys to look up to that was amazing, like Dom Cook, James Starks, Naaman Roosevelt, Trevor Scott was there when I was there, but just like to always hear the comparison, to always like hear about the records and always hear about how good he was, like that was something to strive to. Man, we had a lot of good vets, bro.
Them boys at UB, man. You guys had some really powerful years. You changed that whole program.
Yeah, that we flipped.
You did. It was you and a couple predecessors before you, and then even now moving forward, the Damone Harrises and LaMarcus and these guys, like it went from a no name, you go to UB program to being like people want to go to UB football because you guys keep getting drafted.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you want to go to the league? Go
to UB, right? Well, listen, man, this was a lot of fun. This really was. Absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for taking the time with us. I know we went a little longer than we planned, but it usually does. When we have good talks, it usually does. So thank you. I am going to reach out to you. Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Was the last thing I was going to say. Yeah, we need to see that. There's the piece. I like that. Is that a lit up box?
Yeah, this what they gave. This what it came in with. This what they gave us with it.
Oh, okay. It came with that.
Yeah.
Look at that thing, man.
Couple pounds.
I ask everybody the same question. Whoever's got one, I ask them, and they're like, I don't know, man. What are you talking about? It's cool.
I have no idea. I don't know. That's first. Nobody ever
asked I don't know, but it looks good on my finger.
Yeah. You can definitely hit me up tomorrow. You can definitely see it, rock it, take some pictures in it.
I will, man. I'll shoot you an email for sure. But definitely cool. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, no doubt. Anytime.
Spending it with Moneyball. Have a great evening.
Appreciate it. All right, Moneyball. Good luck.
Take care, my man. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.